Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. And today, sorry my hair is really crazy. I had a really long 2 days. A lot happened, but I think this is the perfect time with my hair to describe why exactly I was taken out of Stranger Things season 5. So if you guys don't know, I was supposed to be like a major character, like a new major character, like Holly like kind of became a major character even though she like rarely did anything. I was gonna be like that level of importance. But I was never introduced before. It was gonna be like the new character, and how it goes. They introduce a character, he dies. Every season it's like one. Eddie, um, Bob, what was the other one? Alexi, something like that. Yeah, it was gonna be like that. But so my character's name was it was Corniful. So Corniful was basically he was new to Hawkins. He was like a little nerdy, but he was also like a jock because I'm ripped. So I was supposed to be like this jock. And my point was I was supposed to kind of you remember the bullies from the beginning, like the bullies. I was like the leader of the bullies. So basically, they kind of dropped the bully plot point after Dustin, fought them, and they kind of forgot about it because the reason they forgot about it and it was kind of left unanswered is because Corniful was supposed to come in and he was supposed to beat the crap out of the four dorks, Mike, Will, and everyone, and he was gonna beat the crap out of them. And he was supposed to be like a kind of antagonist instead of the military because the military they're kind of random, it's a little too much. So Corniful and his gang were supposed to be like, like that, and it was gonna bring back the original two bullies from the first season. It was gonna be like this bully thing. That's why at the end Dustin goes like talks about jocks and said this was gonna be more like school based, but they had to get rid of my character and turn it into the military and bring Callie back. It was kind of dumb. So Corniful basically was doing that, and the reason they took me out is because one, my acting was way too good. You know how the acting like is kind of Netflixy. I was doing like real acting. So if you guys don't know, Netflix has a thing where they want you to watch the movie like you're on your phone. Like they think you're gonna be on your phone, so they do like sound effects. They just make it like really simple so you can follow along. But Corniful's dialogue was so beautiful, and like I delivered it so throughout. Like you had to pay attention to really grasp what was going on. They didn't like that, and I just when I play a character, I can't like deduce myself so low. I had exuberant, beautiful dialogue, and yeah. And Corniful was supposed to be there for everything. Will coming out. Eventually, Corniful will kind of be like Steve, where you kind of realize like, hey, he's not so bad. Um, but my dialogue was a little too exuberant, too good, too like fancy, high quality. They kind of Netflixized the show. I was going off like season one, where season one was really good and written amazing. Corniful's writing was really good, and I kept trying to make changes to make it better. So yeah, that's why they dropped that plot point, like the bully and all that. And Dustin's speech said something about jocks and nerds. It was supposed to be kind of like that. Taking reference from Bully the Game. Everyone comes together. And it was gonna be a lot better this season, but they had to take my part out, so they replaced it with some old lady in the military because I was supposed to come in part two of season four. It was gonna be like Billy, but a lot more badass. And yeah, but also because in the final scene where they go to Dimension X and like Vecna, all that, Vecna was supposed to kill Corniful, but Corniful, like, it kind of makes sense. It wouldn't make that much sense if he died, so they kept me in. But the problem is, I just like Corniful kept killing Vecna because it didn't really make sense because the finale is supposed to be a lot longer. Vecna was supposed to be a lot more powerful, but the problem is Corniful was too strong and he just kept killing Vecna. So they'd have to restart the scene. They'd be like, "Listen, you can't." I'm like, "Sorry," but every time I hit Corniful, attacked Vecna and all that, and the giant monster, he would just like one shot them, and Corniful just kept one shotting them. So they're like, okay, they kind of had to rewrite the scene where it didn't crash down. Like the plan kind of failed, like this slinky plan. It was kind of stupid anyway, but yeah, so they had to change that, and Cornful was supposed to be like a good guy in Dimension X, and um, but yeah, so I just kept, Cornful kept one-shotting Vecna, so they had to write me out of the scene, and it kind of ruined that. But the thing is, I was supposed to have like a fight with Steve and Jonathan. It was a really cool scene. Like Steve and Jonathan teamed up to fight Cornful and beat him. Because Jonathan wanted to save Will, and it's gonna be like a good Will and Jonathan moment, and Steve and his three kids. It's gonna be nice, but Cornful, he just kept beating them up. When I'm playing the character, I can't, I become them, and it doesn't make sense for someone as powerful as Cornful to lose. So he just kept beating up Jonathan and Will. What am I saying? Jonathan and Steve, and it wasn't working. I just, Corniful was just too powerful, I guess. It just didn't make a lot of sense. So then Corniful's death scene was supposed to be from the giant monster, so the giant monster actually had a kill and wasn't just a freaking flesh thing. Um, but yeah, the giant monster couldn't kill Corniful. Corniful was too strong. And so there's also a question with the Demogorgons and stuff. They were supposed to be there. It's going to be this awesome final war, but like all the props when I was Corniful, I destroyed and ate them all. Like Corniful like just destroyed every Demogorgon, every Demodog, every Demobat was just annihilated completely by Corniful. I just couldn't help myself. It's just I felt so real, like I was actually there. You know, I was one shotting them. Um, so yeah, they had to get rid of that, and they had to make the giant monster like 3 times smaller because I just kept packing it up. So yeah, and then they had to write a plot point with the kids because Corniful actually kidnapped the kids from Vecna, and actually Corniful destroyed the world himself because he's that based. He didn't do it for a reason. Like, he wasn't controlled by the Mind Flayer. He actually controlled the Mind Flayer's body and made it fall off one of the cliffs and die, and then he just became the Mind Flayer and became a giant shadow. Like, Corniful, it was like Corniful the Shadow, and Corniful the Shadow, like, flew around the world and just killed everyone because he's so extraordinarily based, and he just did it for the love of the game, and he just destroyed everyone. And, yeah, it was kind of messed up. And when Steven, Jonathan were breaking up, you remember the goo, like how the goo was kind of falling down? That was actually Corniful's nut. There wasn't really supposed to be goo, but he nutted all over the set, and yeah, so they just kept it in there, and then that's why they were crying, because it was actually really disgusting. But he was doing that because when Will came out as gay, Corniful was like, oh yeah, and he just nutted everywhere, and it was really random. But Corniful's whole character is meant to be like really sporadic, and like, you know how Billy was sporadic, like gonna run over the kids with the car. Corniful was, you know, like more insane. He was like more, it was exact, you know, season 5 exaggeration. So Corniful just nutted everywhere and said like fuck you, and because, you know, it's the 80s, and well, I mean, it didn't like, they loved the scene, but it was just too much, so they had to get rid of it. So they just made out the, you know, Will coming out scene, and I was there, but Corniful just started beating the shit out of everyone again because he's so based. And on all the emotional scenes, like at the end when Dustin was giving a speech, Corniful just beat the shit out of everyone. You know, when they were when Nancy was gonna sacrifice herself and they all started going up the cliffs and shooting like slingshots, Corniful just killed everyone because he's so based. And in the beginning scene, the final scene when they're like playing D&D and they're all happy, like putting the books away, Corniful actually came and just slaughtered everyone, just killed them all because he's so base and he's like a bully, so, you know, he kills people, like he kills everyone he sees. Yeah, and his weapon was gonna be Corniful's weapon was like a mix of a katana and a nunchuck, and it was kind of cool. But, you know, all the scenes, all the great scenes they had, you know, I kind of destroyed the props by accident. I got too into characters, so they had to replace me, and now every plot hole is like something I did. So if you think season 5 was bad, that's my bad. But yeah, that's why they didn't. That's why they wrote me out of season 5. So sorry about that. Peace.